Welcome, Lund loyalists, YouTubers watching on John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective, those watching on X and Instagram and listening on Apple and Spotify. It's John Lund Unleashed and JohnLundUnleashed.com. Brought to you by Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Right now featuring amazing stem cell technology. For all your pain and for the guys, check out the latest in low T and testosterone therapy to make you feel like yourself again. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center at riopelcosmetic.com. Now, all juiced up and ready to go. Here's Johnny.
Let's not waste any time with this thing. Played in or played out. Very simple. Played in. It's the smiling Curry on the left, not the dejected Curry on the right, although it was close. Steph had a 4-point play, a corner three, plus he got fouled by Scottie Pippen Jr. that made it 55-35 in the second quarter, and I stupidly on my notes wrote, game over. Yeah, not so much. Ja Morant got hurt in the third quarter, sprained his ankle, stepped on buddy, healed, 82-81 Warriors. I wrote again, game over. No, not so fast, my friend. Desmond Bane wouldn't let it happen, but as you can see on the crawl down below, the Warriors are the 7 seed now. They'll play the Rockets. I told you it was a better matchup. I told you the other day that by losing they won against the Clippers because I'd rather play the Rockets than the Lakers. It was just that you didn't want to have to play an extra game. So that was stupid on my part as well. Grizzlies, Warriors, get to the roll call in just a second. I have seen loud and clear what you're all about, and I have one-upped you. I'm going to tell you about that in a second during the roll call. Grizzlies, Warriors. The Warriors are the number 7 seed, 121-116. That 5-second count at the end. The Grizzlies couldn't give it the ball in bounds. Hello, dude, get it in bounds. Play in post game is what we've talked about. Play in, forget playoff, Jimmy. We'll get to that in a minute, but play in, Jimmy. 38 points, got to the free throw line a ton. This is exactly what you thought and why the Warriors were smart to get Jimmy Butler. Things are kind of out of control. Things are getting a little frenzied. You're not hitting some shots. The other team's making a run at you. No problem. Free throw Jimmy is in the building, and he went to the line a ton. So there you go. Play in, Jimmy. Ja Morant hurt in the third, as I said, with that ankle injury. It was 82-81 Golden State at that point. The Memphis start 11-2, but then the Warriors went on a big run in the first quarter to get things under control. Like I said, the Curry 4-point play in the second quarter, 55-35, and I said, game over. And not so much. Bane carries the Grizzlies. I'm Bane. He carried the Grizzlies in this game because Ja Morant, after the injury, not very effective, and it's going to be tough for them because they got to turn around on Friday then and play the winner of the 9-10, and I don't know that Morant's going to be ready, but we don't care about that. Steph Curry was absolutely fire in the fourth quarter. It was really Jimmy for 3 quarters. Steph carrying everything in the fourth quarter. Thank you very much, and it's the Rockets on Sunday, and I told you this earlier in the week, that 106-96 loss to the Rockets was going to prove valuable. The Rockets went balls out and said, this is how we're going to defend Curry, and we're going to get really physical, and Amen Thompson up in his face and double teams and all these kind of things. I'm sorry. Thank you for showing us what you're going to do against us. We're just going to put that in our little brain. And then when we play you, we've already got a little bit of what you're going to do. So thank you, young Rockets, for doing that. And I know they have guys like Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, who's probably up for something stupid this series and so forth. But the bottom line is this. The Warriors win. They survive. They make you nervous. They make you crazy, but they win 121. I was thinking the Rockets score 106-96. 121-116 over Memphis. Give me your thoughts. At one point, it looked like they're cruising on this thing. They are fine. And then all of a sudden, not so much. And you kind of had to hold your breath. My wife was in here sitting, as she never does, on the couch here in the studio because this is kind of like a guy's room and it smells like a guy's room. And she doesn't come out here very often. It's very important when she does. So when she comes out for a playoff game, and she was very nervous. That was a problem. Rebounding was a major problem. The second chance point, Zach Edey is like this mechanical robot. He's like Herman Munster. Dun, 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 dun. Like he has no movement skills, but he's still got, 16, 17 rebounds? And then he brings the ball down. It's like the guy's, oh, my God. But anyway, bigs give him trouble. Size gives him trouble. Şengün is going to give him trouble. I don't even know if the JK thing, unless you want to talk about it, it's really a topic of conversation. He's clearly out of the rotation and isn't going to be here next year. So I don't know about if there's any kind of discussion to be had as far as that goes. But give me your thoughts on the game. Give me your thoughts, how nervous you were. Play in Jimmy. Steph Curry at the end at points. You thought they've got this thing, and then you got a little bit nervous. Desmond Bane was really good. Then the ankle injury, you're thinking, okay, At times, the officiating was kind of inconsistent. At times they let him play. At times they didn't. My wife is in here. I was like, for both sides, I just want to see consistent officiating. There was some ticky-tack kind of stuff. Draymond, give him a ton of credit in the past. He might have lost it on some of those things, but he didn't tonight. So the Warriors win, and they're the 7 seed. Nathan and Todd are already headlining the beer chug, which is fine. I knew it. I saw it. And I'll get the beer chug going, and I'm going to up you. I'm going to up you on a beer chug just a second, but you all have to be doing the same thing that I'm doing. So we will celebrate a 121-116 victory. Nathan is here tonight. Todd is here tonight as they're going both back and forth. I love it. We should have done probably the end of the game on this whole thing because you guys are doing a little bit of play-by-play here, and I appreciate the supers. We'll get to them in just a second. Bunch of supers in here that you guys are asking for the chug, so I will make sure that I get the chug going. For example, there you go, right there. Let's go. The chug, and I'll make sure that we have a beer chat going and we get everything going and we go crazy. Now, here's the deal: we are exclusive to YouTube tonight. So the only places we're doing this thing is we're doing it on YouTube, both on the Bay Area Sports Collective and John Lund Unleashed. So that's it. These are the only 2 places we're doing it. So tell your friends if they're going to watch somewhere else, they cannot do that. I love you too, man. I love you too, man. I got a great story about that. But yeah, that ankle roll did not look good. There was a lot of issues as far as that goes. But you know what? They end up getting the victory. So, Steve, good evening to everybody. This is a little weird because we do it so early, and now we're like here late at night. So really good to see everybody. I love that you guys, Nathan and Todd, were doing play-by-play here as I'm doing this. Good afternoon or good evening to you, Steve. It is great to see you in here. Fiend, Baba Booey, it is great to see you here. Joy, oh, hello, Joy. Did you put everybody to bed? That's very nice. Caesar is here. Michael is here. Great to see everybody. I want to get your thoughts. Papa J, Steph Curry, the old man. He did step up in the fourth quarter. I love it, man, because I put this up early. So there's tons of messages here from people who are kind of doing this live thing during the game. I should have probably should have jumped in here a lot earlier. Vrock 408 is the man. I like it. Pine Needle. Alex, good to see you, my friend. Awesome. Bucko Sports, hadn't seen you in a while. Great to see you. Did I say Papa J? Hello, Papa J. Scrim Bowl, is that what that is? I can't even see it. Is that Shrimp Bowl? It's very dark in here. Shrimp Bowl. Good to see you. GP2 had, early on, GP2 had like 7 points. The bench was really good in the first half. Post hit a couple of big shots early. GP right off the bench scored hit a 3. He had like 7 points in the first half. Second half, not so much. But first half, the bench gave him a little bit. Ryan D, it is great to see you, DC. So give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on what you saw tonight. I will give you my thoughts. First and foremost, let's celebrate the win. So let me do this because I know everybody's going to do this. Let's celebrate the win, and then let's get into this whole thing. So let me pour one. All right, let me get one there because Todd and Nathan were doing play-by-play during the whole thing, and they gave me about 5-6 supers, and so I owe you guys. Plus, I owe Nathan anyway because as I left the show this morning, I saw a super, and I'm like, whoa, and I didn't get to it, man. And so I want to make sure that I get to all the supers because I owed you one from today. So I was like, whoa, I owe Nathan a super there. So let me just pop some of these up. There's one from Todd. Great to see you, Todd. Thank you for the super, my friend. Let's see what else we got. We got a bunch of ones in here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we got a ton of stuff in here today. So anyway, good to see everybody. Give me your thoughts on the win. I'm going to pop up the box score in a second, but let's cheers to some. What are we going to cheers to tonight? Play in Jimmy, to Steph's fourth quarter, to be in the 7 seed. What would you like to cheers to here? I'm going to wait for a second. Very nice, man. Lund kept me awake on my, let's see here. Where is it? Oh, right there. Dude, you're the same as me, man. Lund kept me awake on my drive back from Los Angeles. I'll put on music for a while, but then it's like I gotta have somebody to converse with almost, right? Like Lund says stupid stuff, and I'm like, you're an idiot. And then you drive and you feel better about things and everything like that. So anyway, I'm glad that I could be of service in some way. Hi, Tony. It's good to see you. Give me your thoughts on the Warriors. Let's pop the board up real quick. Or you know what? Let's do this first. Yeah, there's a bunch of people. Let's just to the Warriors, right? To anything, John. Like whatever. Like I'm pounding one. I like this. All right, everybody. Let's cheers. Let's do a bunch of stuff here. All right. Somebody's just popping in. Hi, Brock. Good to see you, man. I always like pop. People are tripping about it, JK, but I think he's just he is a bad locker room guy. What are you talking about? Let me pop it up. You had one a little bit earlier because I might have missed it. Tell me who's a bad locker room guy? You're talking about JK? I don't know about JK there, but okay, let's do it. Papa J, don't worry about it. If you're having one in spirit with us, that's fine. I don't have a beer or any kind of alcohol near me, but I will down this 7-Up. That's just it's about the spirit of it, right? We have to drink to the Warriors being the 7 seed. If you were with the show this morning, I was not confident. You lose to San Antonio, sorry, that saps my confidence. And you lose to San Antonio at home that drops you into this playing game, it saps my confidence. Having said that, I wrote a piece at johnlundunleashed.com, and I said this is a good thing. I said they're going to beat Memphis. I thought when Steph hit that 4-point play in the corner and they were up 55-35, I thought this thing's they put the pedal to the metal right then, they win the game. Memphis went on a 7-0 run, and it was like, damn, they're going to have to play this thing to the end, aren't they? But they've got until Sunday. It's plenty of time. As Draymond Green said, they're not senior citizens yet. You could tell with Curry and Butler. Dre's got to pick it up a little bit. He was in some foul trouble tonight. But let's cheers to it. Here's to the Warriors. Here's to the 7 seed. And then let's discuss. Tell me what you thought of the game. And if you want to look ahead to the Rockets, we can do that too. But cheers to everybody. Let's do it. All right, there you go. Tasty beverage. All right. There it is. 121-16. The Warriors get the victory. Like I said, yeah, do a nice coffee if you're doing a nice coffee. It doesn't have to be booze. Just because I have issues in my life does not mean that you have to follow my lead. That's not a good thing. I am not a role model. Let's get to the box score here. Let me pop this up for you, and we'll go over it together, shall we? Sometimes it lies. This is your final box score, 121-116. As you can see there, without Jimmy Butler getting to the free throw line, this team's out. They're out of the playoffs. They go to the free throw line at 28-20 on the free throws, 34 times the free throw line. And this was a team, and we all know this in the Warriors, that just never got to the free throw line. Jimmy Butler, the only problem with Jimmy tonight was he went 12 of 18. Jimmy should have scored 40 plus. He goes 12 of 18 from the free throw line. That's not very Jimmy-like, but he got there. And then you add Steph Curry to it, and those two combined hit 25 free throws and took 31. Jimmy with 38 did most of his damage in the first 3 quarters. Steph Curry was absolutely great in the fourth quarter, and he scores 37. He did get a little bit of help from the free throws at the end, obviously, when they fouled him. But he was very, very solid. So 38 from Jimmy, 37 from Steph Curry. Peyton and Post scored most of their points in the first quarter, in the first half, but in the first quarter when they first came off the bench and gave some really nice minutes. Give Quentin Post a ton of credit. Almost played 22 minutes tonight, but because of the size of Memphis, and this all of a sudden in this next series against Houston makes Quentin Post really important, because Zach Edey, who's this mechanical kind of guy, still gave him a lot of problems. You can see there, 17 boards, 7 offensive. That's a problem. 16 offensive rebounds for Memphis. And as you can see there, second chance points there, 26-19. So they were -7 in that regard. So that was keeping Memphis in the game. The Rockets, between their athletes, Şengün, they've got some size on that team. Steven Adams, who isn't what he once was, but still has size and toughness. So when he's in the game, you got to watch his offensive rebounding. So they will, one of the things, and you get into a series and you know this, they'll start to pound down your weaknesses. Like if you can't offensive rebound, or if you're getting beat on the glass like they do against teams with size, then it's real simple. Houston's going to say, let's pound the glass. Now, what that does is it gives you opportunities to break and get easy baskets and do things like that. So you give up something, you get something, but that's going to be something that Houston's going to get after. There's no question about it. So 121-116, like I said, between Butler and Curry, they absolutely show up. Here's part of the problem too, is if other guys aren't stepping up, it puts an immense amount of pressure on Butler, 38, Curry, 37. They're lucky to get the 25 or 23 combined between Peyton and Post, because I said this earlier this week, if they're going to go somewhere in the playoffs deep, they've got to get contributions from Moody and Podziemski. Podziemski's got to be the guy that he was late in the season, scoring 20 points a game every single night. 1 of 7, 1 of 5. Had a foul late in the game he didn't think was a foul. He was just kind of off all night. He only scores 3. Moody early was okay, and then he kind of disappeared. A couple of good defensive plays, but 4 of 7, 1 of 4. That's not going to be enough for the Warriors. They've got to get more contributions from those guys. And Draymond Green wasn't terrible. 6 boards, 10 assists, 4 points. He wasn't great either. He was just okay. They got carried generally by Butler early and Curry late, and that's what came down to it. As far as the Grizzlies are concerned, Ja Morant's injury was massive. That ankle was 82-81 late in the third quarter when he turned that, or actually stepped on Buddy Hield's foot. That was the biggest contribution Buddy Hield gave on the night. In only, 12:06, goes 1 of 4, 0 of 3, and he doesn't do much if he's not hitting shots. So Morant just scoring 22. Desmond Bane kept him in it, hit a ton of shots. He scores 30 on 5 of 8 from 3. They didn't get much else, and Memphis is going to have to play in the 9-10. Not that I care who wins that. I think Memphis is going to struggle because Ja Morant's got that ankle injury, and I don't know that it's going to be ready in 48 hours. Who cares about them, though? So that's your box score right there, 121-116. What stands out to you about this win for the Warriors? And the biggest question to me is, let's get into the Rockets. What do you think of the Rockets series? I am more confident against the Rockets than I would have been against the Lakers, against the Nuggets. They're a really good team. I give them a ton of respect. They have 52 wins on the season. They're hyper athletic. Jalen Green is really, really athletic. Şengün is going to be a major problem. That's why I said Post is going to have to be a major player because he's going to give him that stretch element, but also, even though this isn't really what he's known for, he's going to have to defend a little bit, give him some size, get some rebounds. Kevon Looney is going to be a part of this series because Şengün is so good. You would think that Kuminga would be a part of this series because the athleticism that Houston has, but we saw tonight, they played 10 guys in the first half of this game, and Guy Santos is ahead of Jonathan Kuminga in the pecking order. And the reason why he is you saw it tonight. He's going to play a certain role, and it's a dirty role. It's rebound, get on the floor, play defense, be ugly. It doesn't matter if you get a couple of fouls. We don't care. You be that guy on the floor. You be that energy guy, and that's really not Jonathan Kuminga. So I said this morning as far as Kuminga is concerned, and he doesn't fit, at least statistically, if you look at it, he doesn't fit, and the numbers aren't good when he's on the floor with Butler. They're worse when he's on the floor with Green. And as we talked about this morning and saw tonight, those guys are going to play a ton of minutes. They're going to play high 30s, if not into the low 40s on certain nights. And that doesn't leave a lot of time for Jonathan Kuminga. And therefore, you would think to yourself from a logical standpoint, well, could he do what Moody does? Could he do what Santos does? Could he do, you would think with offensive rebounding, that's the thing. He's 6'9", he's long. He's not a great rebounder for his size. He's not dirty. He's not grimy. He's not going to be that. So the reason why Santos is playing ahead of him, whether you like it or not, is that Santos is willing to do those things that Jonathan Kuminga really doesn't. And what they need Jonathan Kuminga to do, or what I should say is what Kuminga's strengths are the things that Jimmy Butler does, to be honest with you. But Jimmy Butler just does them better, and he just doesn't have the experience. And so I said this after Game 82 against the Clippers. If you don't trust him in Game 82, where you're guaranteed another game, if you don't trust him in the play-in game where you're guaranteed another game, then how in the hell would you have any kind of confidence that Jonathan Kuminga would be a player in the playoffs? Their rotation is set. And I get it. If you were watching Santos flop around and dive and do all those kind of things that he did tonight, you'd think, well, isn't Kuminga a better player? He is a better player. But he's not going to be that kind of an energy role type of guy, and that's the role that's open. It's almost like when you go to a job interview and you want this job, but that job is open, and you take that job hoping to get this job eventually. You take this job hopefully to get that job eventually. And the job that's open right now, the job description that's open right now is hustle guy and rebound guy and get on the floor guy, and that's the job that's open. And Santos is better at that job than what Kuminga is. And the things that Kuminga does is what Butler does. And the issue with Kuminga a lot of times is he's more of a mid-range guy, a driver, get to the line, that kind of stuff. And that's what Jimmy Butler does. And then he's not as good of a defender, and he's not as reliable. And I tell you this all the time. When it comes to the playoffs, there's only one word that matters to a coach: trust. Can I trust you? And right now, Steve Kerr doesn't trust Jonathan Kuminga. So, look, they get the win. I'm not overly worried about Kuminga. I don't know where he fits in this series. Maybe there is a role that I don't see that Steve Kerr is going to carve out for him. I just don't see it right now. Having said that, the athletic ability of Houston and the type of guys that they have on this team would lend itself to somewhere for Jonathan Kuminga, would it not? Like I said, Jalen Green and Amen Thompson and guys like that, or maybe you need a taller, quicker, faster guy. Let's see, Fred VanVleet's going off. Whatever. Kuminga can guard a few different positions, so I would think size and athleticism at some point would come into play during this series against Houston, who's a very athletic team, but it just doesn't seem like Kuminga has a role, which means in the offseason, which hopefully is a long way away, that he's probably going to another team and he's going to try to keep the best attitude he can, but we'll see. So that's what's going on as far as the Warriors are concerned. Let me hit up some supers, and I appreciate everybody hitting us up on supers. Let's see. It says, John, give your wife a smoochie on camera. I think she left. Like right when I popped on, because what I did was I turned off the lights in here. I turn on the video type light. So I bought all this lighting around me and I don't have the regular lights on. And then I hit the thing and she's out of here. And she's got stuff to watch. Like she gave me the Warriors tonight. And she's a big Warriors fan. If you had to say, what is she'll tolerate baseball games if we go. She's not a big baseball fan, but she likes to go to the games. She's a big Niners fan, huge Warriors fan. And so when, she'll come in and watch during the playoffs and stuff like that and ask you some questions or anything like that. Like we were down the stretch, she was asking me some questions about what was going on and what about this and why are they doing that and all that kind of stuff. But the minute the lights go on in here, she's gone. She's gone. So I have a better chance of smooching the dog than her. Pods and Moody are going to step up without Kuminga. They have to. I mean, look, I understand that it's playoff Jimmy, and tonight it was play in Jimmy. I get that. Scored 38 points. Jimmy's going to do those things. Steph Curry didn't do anything out of the unusual tonight. I mean, I guess we just take it for granted that he's going to dominate in the fourth quarter like he does. So he didn't do anything unusual. The X factor to them winning this series against Houston, because I talk about this all the time, it's called dictating how you're going to get beat. So what they're going to try to do, and they're not going to be able to do it because Steph Curry's great against everybody. I know they did it, and I know he went 1 for 10 for 3 points against Houston. Like I said, that's a big advantage for the Warriors now. It wasn't when they lost 106-96, and it cost them a game, and that game cost them getting into the play-in game. But now that is behind them and they can get rest, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they can get rest. And then they play on Sunday in Houston. Now that is all behind them, that Houston showing the Warriors the way they were going to play against them in the playoffs and going balls out in that game when they didn't have to and they knew they were going to be the 2 seed was a massive mistake by a young coaching staff. That close to the playoffs, you don't show anybody anything if you don't have to. Now, obviously, if you need to get in the playoffs like Memphis tonight, yeah, of course you're going to go all out. You're the Warriors. You're going to go all out. You're playing the Clippers to try to stay out of the play, and you're going to go all out. But Houston was going to be the number 2 seed anyway. And so they showed their hand against the Warriors. And for a team that figures you out come playoff time, and that is one of their great strengths, to show them the way that I think, are going to play Steph Curry with the physical nature, which really, it's not that big of a mystery. That's a mystery. It's not that big of a mystery, the way that you're going to play Steph, because that's what everybody tries to do against Steph in the playoffs. They try to muscle him and body him, and they look at the referees and they say, okay, how are you going to call this game? And tonight they let him play a little bit more physical than they normally let a team play. There was a lot of pushing and shoving and hitting and, kind of looking like they're going to get a whistle here. Now, Jimmy's just a master at it. That's the difference. And the biggest thing to take away from tonight's game in a positive sense for the Warriors, to me, is that before they got Jimmy, when they go through these stretches and sometimes the ball just doesn't go down. Remember the shot that Steph Curry took tonight? Was it from the left corner? And it hit literally every inch of the damn rim and didn't go in. Now, they got an offensive board on that and ended up scoring anyway, but I mean, it went doink, 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 doink. I mean, that's just the ball. And so there's going to be certain nights where Steph Curry could be shooting the lights out and he's 9 for 24, 8 for 24, and, it just won't go down for him. But the things you can control effort, defense, rebounding. That's what's frustrating about the offensive rebounds. But the other thing you control, if you're Jimmy Butler, is, okay, I'm sensing that we're going to go through a cold spell right now. The ball's not going down. The ball's not rotating. We're a little bit off offensively. Crowd, maybe we're on the road and the other team's got some momentum on us. Here's what I'm going to do. Get me the ball. I'm going to get to the free throw line. I'm going to settle everybody down. Everybody's going to be able to take a breath. I'm going to hit 2 free throws and we're on our way. In the first half, the thing that Jimmy Butler was doing so well, and I don't know why, these teams have defensive game plans, and then a lot of times they just don't follow them. Like tonight, there were defenders for Memphis running out to Draymond Green, which then left opportunities for Steph Curry. And I was shaking my head going, the defensive game plan is not to run at Draymond Green when he's behind the line. It's to back off and go for it, dude. We don't think you can do that. Or Gary Payton or any of those guys. There's a reason you're open, right? And they're not going to change the game plan on it. If Gary Payton and Draymond Green are hitting threes, then that's how you're going to dictate how you get beat. And it goes back to my original point, which is they're going to let Brandon Podjemski, not let, but Brandon Podjemski is going to get opportunities. And Moses Moody is going to get opportunities in the playoffs. And those guys are going to have to capitalize. Brandon Podjemski against Houston is going to have to be a complimentary 16 to 18 point scorer and, fill the box score like he does. 18 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, a couple of charges. Moses Moody has got to hit, the wide open corner three that during the run with Jimmy Butler, what are they, 23-6, something like that with Jimmy now? He's got to hit that shot like you're wide open. That's the shot they're going to give you when they dictate how they're going to get beat. When they have a game plan, it's double Steph, body Steph, physical Steph, all that kind of stuff. They're going to try to keep Jimmy from doing what Jimmy does. But the great thing about Jimmy, and let me go back to what I was saying about defenses not remembering what the game plan is. Jimmy was positioning himself, and he must have saw something on film against Memphis. He was positioning himself outside of the three-point line, getting the ball out wide. And for some reason, they're coming at Jimmy. He's not a three-point shooter. He did hit one early, and then he's just dribbling into the lane, and he's either getting an easy mid-range shot or early he was getting to the free throw line. And it was magical what he was doing. And that's why offensively for the Warriors, they're not going to stall out like they've done in the past over the last couple of years. They don't stall out for as long because Jimmy Butler's getting you to the free throw line. Everybody calms down, they get a breath, and then you get back on defense. They're the best defensive team efficiency-wise since Jimmy Butler arrived. And part of that all is free throws. I'm telling you, offensively and defensively. Allows you to rest on one end. It allows you to get your breath. It allows, even if you're on the road like you're going to be on Sunday against Houston, to just gather yourself. Okay, it's going crazy. The Rockets are going nuts. They hit a couple of threes. Their crowd's going crazy. They've always hated the Warriors anyway, back to Harden and Paul and all those kind of things. And they remember you even though those guys are gone. And it's going to be a frenzy there because it's kind of like hitting the reset button on the Rockets. They haven't been in the playoffs in a while. That crowd's going to be absolutely bonkers and bananas, and they know Curry and they know Green and they hate him just the same. So Jimmy Butler being able to calm down the crowd during a Rockets, 9-0 run is like, all right, we're cool, guys. We got this. It's invaluable. And what that does defensively is, too, it lets you set up defensively. You're not, because the stupid turnovers that sometimes the Warriors set, then you're not set defensively. Teams are getting easy baskets on you. Free throws do so many things for you. And Jimmy Butler allows that to happen. Calms you down offensively, lets you set up on defense, gives you a breath, all these kind of things that are really good that Jimmy Butler does. So had a great night tonight. So that's where I'm at as far as the Warriors are concerned. What is your confidence level as far as the Warriors are concerned against the Rockets? I'd love to know that. So thanks to Todd so far for a wonderful super. Thanks to Brock 408, Todd K, Todd a couple of them, Brock a couple of them. Thanks, you guys. Can't thank you enough for joining us tonight for the 121-116 win. Let me get out to the lines a little bit. By the way, I'm going to do one more thing, and I don't want you to think I'm some sort of a raging alcoholic, but I've been waiting for a special occasion, and this is as good as any. I bought this really cool bottle of whiskey from a shop good friend of mine owns, and it's been a long time, and it's Penelope. It is toasted. It is a great bourbon. I'm a big bourbon fan, and I haven't had one pull off this thing, and I thought it would be a great night to do that. So I'm not going to do it right now. You hear that pop right there? Yeah. There you go. Oh, it's lovely to smell. So I'll do one of those too at some point, but I want to stay sober here and get your thoughts on everything about this win tonight. Let's go back out to a few things. Questions, comments, thoughts. Give me your thoughts on the game tonight. Let's see. Let's pop it. Hey, Skills. Good to see you, man. Did I say hello to you? Green's threes either go straight in the hoop or carry them off the rim at the craziest angles. Yeah. I mean, look, man, Draymond Green, sometimes the worst thing that Draymond can do, as crazy as this sounds, is hit a three early in the game. Because then he thinks, man, I am hot. And then he doinks 4 right off. You know, it's like, oh my God, you're chipping paint off the rim, dude. If he's open, I get it. Corner threes and everything, but you've heard this term many times. There's a reason you're open. And in his case, there's a reason you're open. Harmony, the robot, you're talking about, by the way, Harmony, the robot, which we originally, when I was working with Tolbert, it originally came aboard with that, and then they stole that from us, which is fine because we quit doing it. But they stole that and did that, but it was aimed originally at Daniel Ogden, who is actually producing Tom's show now on the Bay Area Sports Collective, by the way. By the way, I don't know that I was supposed to say this, but Rod Brooks is going to be making a show very, very soon. That's all I can say about that. I don't know that I was even supposed to say that. So he is joining the Bay Area Sports Collective at some point. Kerr needs to prove that he can coach. Otherwise, he will be known as the guy who jumped on the Curry bandwagon. I think he's going to outcoach Houston in this series. This team is really, really good at figuring teams out. Doesn't mean that they always win the series. But what I'm saying is that while I respect what Houston did during the regular season and winning the 52 games, they put together a really good team. They're incredibly athletic. I like their mix. They might be just a touch too young. Amen Thompson is a really talented player. Jalen Green's a really talented player. Şengün is a very talented player, and they're going to be a handful to deal with to beat to the Warriors. But none of them have one game of playoff experience, not one. Now, Fred VanVleet won a championship with Toronto. Basketball gods helped out a lot. Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant injuries. The basketball gods helped them get that, but they got it and they won, so give it to them. But Fred VanVleet is that much older, and he's a nice player, but he's not as good as he was in those Toronto years. Dillon Brooks is just basically an irritant, and sometimes he is more hurtful than helpful for his team, which is what you got to hope for. He is more concerned. He's a Dennis Rodman-esque kind of a player, and I don't mean that in terms of the way he plays defense or rebounds or anything like that. I just mean what he's trying to do is he's trying to irritate you and take you out of your game. And so the Warriors, the one thing that the Warriors have to watch, and especially Draymond Green, because every single team that plays the Warriors in the playoffs, one of the things on their board, on their bullet points of their board for the playoff series is make Draymond Green lose control of himself. Get him out of his game. Get him pissed off. And Draymond has done a nice job. Even tonight, he fouls out like it was a foul. It was an inbounds play. It was a stupid play by Draymond Green. Didn't need to make the play, and the play that he fouled out, and the foul before that they reviewed was a foul too. And he's sitting there running around doing this kind of thing, and it's like, if you're Steve Kerr, don't be influenced by that. Just if you don't think it's a foul, that's fine. But don't be influenced by Draymond Green running all over the court doing this kind of a thing. And it was a foul. It was clear it was a foul. So those last two fouls that he was all mad about, but he walked away from the officials, and I give him a ton of credit, because when he fouled out, it was 117, 114 late in the game, and I'm watching him and I'm going, is he going to get a technical foul? Is he going to get a technical foul? Because Scottie Pippen Jr. missed a free throw that could have tied the game at one point late in the game. And I'm thinking, if Draymond gives him one back and all that stupid stuff. So what Dillon Brooks is going to do is he is specifically there to irritate Draymond Green and try to take Draymond Green out of his game mentally, which Draymond Green should not allow. And late in the game, get a stupid technical foul. That's why he's there constantly, to irritate, because he's not overly talented. So when I look at them and I say, okay, they've got some veterans on the team. Steven Adams doesn't play a huge role. He can get some key offensive rebounds and things like that. He'll give you some beef. But what the Warriors are going to do is kind of what they did with Edey tonight. It's like, all right, come on out. Like, if you're going to play drop coverage and allow these shots for us, then we're just going to take advantage of you. And that's the one way you can take advantage of a guy like that. Now, Şengün can move a little bit better. And on the offensive end, the problem with him is, the young guy from Turkey, is he's a really good offensive rebounder. He's very active. He's good around the rim. I'm not saying he's Jokic, but he's got those kind of a skill set to a certain extent. So he's going to be a problem. He was a problem in the game that the Rockets won 106-96. In addition to, like I said, Amen Thompson. They'll figure it out as far as the Warriors. Curry's not going to have another 1 for 10 kind of a game. So anyway, to be honest with you, just to kind of cut to the chase as far as the Rockets are concerned, I feel good about their chances against the Rockets. I think, you know what? If I had to make a prediction right now without seeing the first game and diving really deep into it, like I will before tomorrow's game, before tomorrow's show, I think they're going to beat the Rockets. I think the Rockets are a really good team. I respect that they won 52 games. It takes a little while, that stepping stone thing, but I do think, I'm not saying the Warriors are going to win a championship or anything. Like I said, if this was going to be a 3-6 against the Lakers, if they had beaten the Clippers, that's what it would have been. I would have said Lakers over Warriors in 7. In this series, I think it's going to be Warriors over Rockets in 6. I think they're going to win the series in 6 games. I think they're going to win it on their home court. I think they're going to surprise the Rockets on Sunday. It's going to reel the Rockets a little bit. The Rockets will win game 2. They'll win one of the first 2. Let's say that. They'll win one of the first two in Houston. Houston's going to be like, what in the what, the what, the what? Weren't we the 2 seed and didn't we just beat these guys? And they'll win one of the first 2 games and get home court after that. And I think they'll win the series in 6. I think they would have lost to the Lakers. I wrote the piece on JohnLundUnleashed.com, and a lot of people came back at me and said, well, it's an advantage that they're playing the Rockets, but then they just have to play the Lakers in the second round anyway. I think Minnesota's got a great matchup against the Lakers, and as I tell you time and time and time again, that's what playoffs are about. It's about matchups. And I think that the matchup between the Lakers and the T-Wolves is going to be a tough one for the Lakers. They're more talented, but Anthony Edwards at any point can go off for 45. I don't know that they have somebody that's going to be able to defend him. LeBron James certainly is not. Jokic is certainly not. Reeves is certainly not. They're not. I don't know that they have someone to body up with him. Now, that means, Randall has to have a hell of a series, and there's a number of different guys, Mike Conley. It's going to be tough for Minnesota to win, but I think that at the very least, they're going to make it a really tough series on the Lakers. And any time that you're playing more, and LeBron James has to play more games, it's kind of like Curry and Butler. Like, you don't want to play unnecessary games. You don't want to play as much as you can, but I do think they're going to beat Houston. I do. All right, let's see. Is the ticker new? If the ticker is bothering you, we can take a poll about this. I can do away with the ticker. I just thought, people were tuning in, 121, 116, just so you knew what was going on. Now that you mention it, Chris, it's kind of annoying me. So I'm taking it away. It's over. It's over. There you go. Get out of here. See, look at that. It's all it took. The ticker's gone. I might bring it back a little bit later, but then now that you mentioned it, it was kind of bothering me. By the way, Joe, I do a radio show in Seattle every week. My good friend Ian Furness at KJR in Seattle. Every week I do a hit with him in Seattle on Tuesday. So I did it today. And you say my husband doesn't like basketball, no team in Seattle anymore. So I watch my 18-year-old. When I was up in Portland for years and years and years, they had the Blazers and the Sonics up there, and they'd go back and forth. And the players would drive, the Blazers players, Bonzi Wells, Damon Stoudemire, Rasheed Wallace, all those different guys. And one time, the Blazers let him do it because it was only like a 2-hour drive from Portland to Seattle. And so we would all drive up there too, media guys. We'd all jump in a car, whatever, and somebody would drive up to Seattle. And then Paul Allen owned the Blazers, and he had this big house, and he had a huge NBA-sized gym, not seats, but, a big court in his house. And the Blazers would actually drive up there, and they would practice. And I don't know why they didn't take a bus, but those guys didn't take a bus. And while Damon Stoudemire was driving with the rest of the guys in a car, not a bus, in Seattle, what ended up happening was his house got not broken into, but there was an alarm that went off, and the cops were like, hello, is anybody here? They walk in the house, and there's boatload of weed just like distributing, not personal use weed before it all became legal. And so it became this huge thing. And we're all in Seattle at Paul Allen's joint covering the Blazers Sonics. And they're doing a practice at Paul Allen's place. So they let us in. Believe me, they were like, you stay right here. We had to stay in the gym area. But then we get this, and this again, before social media, all this stuff comes out, but we get these alerts that are like, yeah, there's a bunch of weed at Damon Stoudemire's house in there in Seattle. We're all in Seattle. We're like, what's that all about? So anyway, yeah, there used to be a team in Seattle, and they were the Sonics, and that's my story. Don't know if that was relevant to anything. Let's see. I love that everybody's going off on tangents tonight, even tonight. That's very cool, man. Oh, thank you, Kenneth. That's very nice to say. Thank you very much. Very nice to see you. What else do we have on tonight's game? 121, 116. How you feeling now that we're past this and they won? How are you feeling about the Rocket series? I am very curious to know how everybody's feeling about the Rocket series. I feel good. I think they're going to win it in 6. I think experience is going to shine. At times, the Warriors have not shown. That veteran down the stretch kind of thing. I mean, tonight I'm watching the game and I'm going, are they going to hit shots? Are they going to have to play on Friday? I mean, what the hell is going on, man? It's driving me crazy. What happened? What just happened? Something happened? Let's see. But anyway, I feel good. I feel good about this series. As far as the rest is concerned, everybody was concerned because they didn't win on Sunday that they were going to get 6 days off. Look, they get Wednesday, they get Thursday, they get Friday, they get Saturday. They'll do a short. They'll probably bumps and bruises and stuff come in for some treatment tomorrow. They'll get a game plan together. The coaches are probably working tonight. Thursday they'll get on everything. Friday they'll practice. Saturday they'll probably maybe they'll head out Friday night, whatever. Saturday they'll do a shoot around at Toyota Center or whatever it's called. I think it's still Toyota Center there. Toyota Center, they'll have a shoot around, kind of get used to everything. And Sunday they play. So being tired and all these things that I'm always complaining about, like, I'm so sick of people saying that, oh, I'm tired at this point of the season. They're not going to be tired. That's not going to be an issue. And there's no back-to-backs. So they're going to be completely fine. Great to see you, Dom. What's going on, man? Schedule looks good for the Dubs to rest up, plenty of space between games. Yeah, that should not be an issue. And the media member who inevitably will ask this question, what about being tired, this and that? Somebody's going to ask him because they already did. There was was it Draymond Green after the loss of the Clippers, and somebody asked him, and he went, "Look, man, we're not senior citizens. Like at this point of the season, I'm sorry that you have to do a 16-game sprint to win an NBA title, but that's the way it goes. And nobody's playing 82 anymore, and nobody's playing 40 minutes anymore. Well, you know what? Chris Paul just played 82. What's he, 50? No, he's not 50. He might be close to 40, though. But he played 82. I mean, he knew he wasn't going to the playoffs, but still, he played 82. So very few players play 82 games. And no players play 40 minutes a night. So everybody should be rested. We're not going to hear about that. We certainly do not want to. Oh, the weed story. No, true story. True story. The alarm was going off at Damon Stoudemire's house. He denied the weed that was his. But again, this was back in the day. It doesn't even matter. Like anymore, players smoke weed. Oh, yeah, okay. Like, tell me something I don't know. They're sitting around there's hardly any shoot-arounds anymore. They used to have them about 10 a.m., and they don't really do those anymore during the regular season. They'll do them in the playoffs the day before. Like I said, Saturday they'll have a shoot-around. But they used to do them like, when teams were traveling and stuff, and they'd have a 7 o'clock game, there'd be a shoot-around at 10 a.m. And I'd go down. Like I said, I was a beat reporter for years for the Utah Jazz. I was a beat reporter for the Portland Trailblazers. And you'd go down there and at 10 o'clock, and that's where I'd get my pregame interviews that I'd run during those shows. And anymore, they'd just rather have the devices say player must rest. So they just rest up, so they don't really do the shoot arounds. Plus, I've told you this story before. Nike's in Beaverton. I used to live in Beaverton, Oregon for years when I was covering the Blazers, and every player wanted to go to Nike. So even the non-Nike players were like giving the Nike players a list to go there and shop for them. And then they would just send all this stuff back. And I had a cousin that worked at Nike. So a lot of times I'd go in there and I would just observe players and what they do. And they just have this giant cart. And they have an assistant with them. Nike would give them somebody and they just throw tons of stuff in there. And then they'd send it all back. So it would be for kids, for friends, for, whatever, shoes, apparel, gear, sweats. I mean, it was ungodly. And, you could shop there as not a regular old person if you knew somebody. So I would do that. But they would just be like, okay, at the shoot around, they'd be like, okay, we have 10 minutes. And normally at a shoot around, you might have 20, 30 minutes afterwards, but they wanted to hop on a charter and they'd want to run out to Nike and get as much stuff as they can. And then they wanted to get to their room and, sleep and play video games until the game. But yeah, that weed story, 100% true. And that was back in the day where it was like, you should have all these guys on a bus. Like these are the Jailblazers. Like this is not, you don't let them drive all the way to Seattle by themselves. I mean, it's only, like I said, it's only about a 2-hour drive, but down to Paul Allen's place in Seattle. But it was like, you can't let these guys do that. And then, like I said, we all get there and we get this alert. And again, it's not like there's Twitter back in those days. And, the PR is like, yeah, there's an issue with Damon Stoudemire. His alarm was going off at his house and the door was cracked open. So the police walked in and there was this gigantic, I mean, the way I remember it, this is probably overblown, like a bale of, like a big thing of weed on the counter. But I know it was more than like an individual consumption amount. That's all I'm saying. And I remember he never got charged with anything. But it's like, that's probably a bad idea when like your door's cracked open and your house alarm's going off and cops walk in your house and they see this gigantic bale of weed on your kitchen counter. It's probably a bad thing. But, the problem was, I'm sure a lot of people remember Damon Stoudemire. He's a coach now. He was a coach in Memphis, actually. I don't know where he was coaching at Pacific. Is he still at Pacific? But everybody has hangers on, and Damon was from Portland. And so the problem was, is a bunch of old buddies or something were hanging around in his house, essentially, and he was out of town. And it's like, damn, man. All right, should we break out this? Should we break this out? And then I got another shot, and we got to go because I got a show to do in the morning, everybody. Now this is called, like I said, I'm not pumping this for anybody. Penelope Bourbon. I bought this at a specialty store. it smells divine. And so because the Warriors won, boy, that's a sizable pour. All right. I do not have a problem. I'm just celebrating. So Penelope, bourbon, barrel shop toasted is what it says here. I've wanted to taste this. I'm not going to chug this whole thing. I want to give it a little bit of a taste. Okay, let me just get this real quick. Get a little not a chaser, but I like to let this close to me here. We're celebrating. Remember, this is just a celebration. What is today? Tuesday? It's a little early in the week to be doing this, isn't it? Probably. All right, hang on a second. Right. Good, listen to that. Solid. I got to take out the trash around here. Let's see. Hi, Mama Jay. It is great to see you. So much for not drinking during the show, but I get it. Yeah, look, there are no rules on this show. When you're celebrating, this isn't like the 8 a.m. show. It's a nighttime show is what I figure, not to have to defend myself. But the 8 to 10 a.m. show that we do Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. on Saturdays, you'd think I would have a problem if I was drinking during that show. And I don't drink during that show. Not at all. I stay completely sober. During this show, we're just celebrating. Like, let's be honest. Let's say they win game 1 against the Rockets on Sunday. We'll do a post-game show for that. I'm not going to be drinking. It's game 1 of the series. It's kind of like Kobe Bryant, job finished. Job finished. Well, you're up 2-0. Why are you so upset? Job finished? I don't think so. That's, look it up. It's Kobe Bryant. I don't think so. So, yeah, I'm not, stop judging me. Are you judging me, Mama J? No, you're not. All right, let's see. I know that was a healthy, I didn't mean to do that. Healthy pour. All of a sudden it started going glug, 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 glug. And I'm like, whoa, stop already. I forgot. I was like, man. The Nike store is epic. It's absolutely epic. Went there a few times for work. Every time got a massive list. That's what happens. You should see, Dom, these NBA players, you'd go in there, and I knew a couple of them, and you'd go in there, and they would unfurl a list like it was Santa Claus. And what was so funny about it was, probably, I don't know what the number would be in the league. It's diversified more. But before, this is, I'm trying to think what year, this is early 2000s. And so what you had then was you'd have Nike players, maybe some Reebok. I don't think Converse was doing anything. There might have been a couple of other ones, small ones, something like that. But now, you got Clay doing his shoe and Curry doing his shoe. There was no Under Armour back then. So maybe there was 3 or 4. There was Adidas, I think, still going back to the Jordan days. Maybe Adidas was still doing some stuff, but not a ton. And so there's only 3 or 4. So most guys were Nike guys anyway back then. But if a guy wasn't, he didn't care. He wanted Nike stuff, and he wanted it to be free. And essentially these guys, if you're a Nike athlete, it wasn't a discount, it was free. So they're just loading up on stuff. And it wasn't like it was hurting me because, here I am at $5.9, $1.75. They're not buying my size stuff. But actually probably if they're kids, they are. But, it was epic. Like you said, they would take, it wasn't like a regular sized grocery cart. It was like a gigantic one. And almost like the flatbeds that you get at like Home Depot or something. And they would have an assistant from Nike just walk around with them. And they'd just be like, 5 of those, 10 of those, this. I would get a discount. I think it was, friends and family might have been 30% or 40%. It was great. You buy tons of stuff there, but the players, my God, totally different. All right. Let me just give this a sip first, because this is a really nice whiskey. And so it's not like, I'm trying to down it. Let me just hang on a minute. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, that was way too healthy of a pour, by the way. But yeah, it's really good. All right, let's keep talking about it. So let me just reset. If you just got into the room tonight, it is great. We are exclusive to YouTube tonight, so only on John Lund Unleashed. Please make sure that you are following. Please make sure also that you are tonight giving us a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm, as I always talk about. And Bay Area Sports Collective. So that's my show, John Lund Unleashed. That is also Tom Tolbert, the Tom Tolbert Show. If you want Warriors stuff, he's going to be talking about it. And it's also Polymax Particles with Creative Tony. And I'm not supposed to probably say this, but it rhymes with Rod Brooks. is going to be joining us shortly, officially at some point. He's been doing a podcast called Quality Hang, and it's going to be up with the Bay Area Sports Collective. So make sure that you check that out. So make sure that you're subscribed to both channels, my channel and Bay Area Sports Collective, and I appreciate it. We are normally doing the show 8 a.m. to about 10 a.m., a couple of hours we do every Monday through Friday. And then Saturday we do a show as well at 10 a.m. We will be doing, just so you know, we will be doing all post-game shows for the Warriors in the playoffs, all post-game shows. So make sure you make a point of it and keep your alerts on, because we'll do post-game shows and we'll hang out for every show. I'm only celebrating tonight because they got into the playoffs. I'm not going to be drinking every night and being some crazy person. Not that I'm being a crazy person tonight, but you get me. Hi, Jake. Good to see you in here tonight. Again, what did you think of tonight's game? If you just jumped in here, what do you think of their chances against Golden State? So again, I'll go through the chalkboard tonight. They are the 7 seed. They win 121-116. The 5-second count at the end, Memphis couldn't get the ball in. That seals everything. They play the play-in post-game shows, what we're doing. Play-in Jimmy got to the free throw line a ton. He basically carried the team for 3 quarters. And then it was Steph Curry in the 4th. Huge play. Ja Morant lands on Buddy Hield's foot. It was 82-81 Golden State at that point. Ja Morant played a few minutes in the 4th quarter at the end, but nearly, you could tell he was limping around. Hit a couple of mid-range shots, but was not the same player. I did think, as it says, Curry 4-point play at 55-35, and I could probably even show you this on my phone because I was making all these notes on my phone and finally sent it to myself at the end. Let's see, second quarter, I can tell you exactly when this point was. So half 67-55, right here. Curry 3-1 off motion. He moved all around, if you remember the play. Ends up in the right corner. 55-35 Warriors, 6:53 left in the second quarter, and I wrote in caps, game over. He made that 4-point play. They were up 20, 55-35. Then Memphis answers with a 7-0 run to make it 55-42. It was a 9-0 run, 55-44. Actually, it was a 13-2, 57-48 with 3:45 left in the half, and at the half it was 67-55. So I thought they could have stomped on their neck. If I'm being honest, I want to see more of that, because against Houston, if you're up 20, 55-35 as they were in this game, you got to just keep pounding. You got to step on their neck. You got to be up. You're up 20. You got to be up 27. Like that run that Memphis made, a 13-2 run after the Curry make at 57-30 or 55-35. At that point, you're the team that goes on the 13-2 run. You don't allow Memphis to go on the 13-2 run. You go on the 13-2 run. You step on their neck, because that's the thing. This team, really young basketball team in Houston, you have got to, especially from game one, from jump. And I know that this is what Steve Kerr is going to be pounding in to their heads, and Steph Curry's going to say, I know, and Jimmy Butler's going to say, I know, and Draymond Green's going to say, I know. But if you know, then do it, because at that point, it's 55-35. At that timeout, they got to be saying to themselves, guys, their dauber is down. Curry's moving all over the court, gets open in the right corner, hits that 3, fouled, makes the free throw, place is going bonkers. That's when we go on the 13-2 run. And now we're up 31, and the game is really over. But Memphis went on the 13-2. They stay in the game, and then they make it a pain in the ass the entire rest of the game, and you're holding your breath until the end when they get the 5-second call at the end and can't get the ball in bounds. Because at that point, it was 117, 114, I think, and a 3 ties the game, and they can't get the ball in bounds. So instead of right there, that was the point of the season, or excuse me, point of the game, point of demarcation, where you're going, okay, it's going one way or the other. You go on the 13-2 run, you can put everybody in the bench in the 4th quarter. You allowed them to come back in, and now all of a sudden you're playing a game to the end. And a team like the Rockets, who's immensely more talented than Memphis, they're going to beat you in that situation because they've got more places and more guys to go to. So, look, a win's a win. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying they have – let's all agree on this. Great win. Happy they're the 7th seed. Played good enough to win. At points, especially Jimmy and Steph, played exceedingly well. Quentin Post in the first half, Gary Payton Jr., GP2, at points early, played absolutely great basketball, but they've got to do that for a more consistent amount of time against the Rockets, because they're just Rockets are way more talented than Memphis, especially once Ja Morant got hurt. So there you go. All right, give me some more thoughts on that. What else do we got in the room? Off the Slumberland. Okay, Mama J, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. I'm going to get out of here pretty soon, too. We're 54 minutes in. Usually I keep these post-game shows to about an hour to just so that because tomorrow in the morning we're going to talk more about this and I'll dive down deeper into this kind of stuff. Plus, we got more stuff. Giants lose tonight, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not down on it, except for Verlander was not great. But I'm not going to get into that tonight. We're going to keep it with the post-game. All right, let's finish her up. Let me finish this whiskey up, and we'll get a few more thoughts in, and then we'll get out of here. Bottoms up. This is my Battle of the Bay, if you didn't see that. Let me see if I can get that straight. We'll Battle of the Bay. That is no longer. That's depressing. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, any more questions, comments, thoughts? First and foremost, I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight and doing a post-game. And do remember, let's hang out together for all the Warriors post-game shows now that they are officially a playoff team. Let's do it, man. Let's hang out after all the games and talk about it. Todd, by the way, you and Nathan, man, were awesome tonight. Really appreciate it. So you guys were absolutely great. Skills says Houston will go up 2-1, and then Golden State will come alive. Golden State's going to win one of the first two games. It wouldn't. Now, look, if Houston's absolutely just bonkers for game one and the place is going crazy, I understand them not winning game one. A lot of times game two can be the letdown game, especially for a young team and the emotions kind of, okay, we're back in the series kind of a thing. But to me, the Warriors are the type of team that can punch you right in the mouth. And I've said this the entire time with young teams, OKC, Houston, as much as I respect the kind of seasons that they had, especially OKC, my God. But now you get into these 82, and if a team punches you in the face, you're like, whoa, we haven't been in a situation for a long time where, especially in Oklahoma City's case, like, when's the last time Oklahoma City had to win a game? And look, I don't know that they're going to go far enough to see Oklahoma City. I doubt it. But if they were to, all of a sudden, when's the last time Oklahoma City had to win a game? When's the last time Houston had to win a game? You know, there's a massive advantage to a team like the Warriors. I mean, they lost to LA, but that was a playoff type of atmosphere. They win tonight, playoff type of atmosphere, obviously. So they've been playing in those kind of atmospheres. Houston, especially being a young team, it's going to take a minute. Like that first quarter, they're going, whoa. Some of these young guys, whoa, what's this? Dude, playoff intensity is what it is. You just got punched in the mouth and they didn't call a foul. Keep going. Like, it's just different. It's a different deal. All the guys will tell you that. Like, I would know. But I've talked to enough athletes through the years and guys in the NBA and playoff guys. It's just different. All right. Let me see what else we got. Any other questions or comments or thoughts? Bottoms up, baby. Todd, you've been great. Like I said, Nathan, you've been great. Skills, great to see you guys. Great to see everybody. Thank you for making the time. I really mean it, for jumping on with us late at night and hanging out on the post-game show here. And again, the Warriors are officially the 7th seed after a 121-116 win over Memphis. Here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, we're going to reconvene at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We'll get more into this game. I'll delve a little bit more deeply into it. We will have some post-game video and those kind of things for you tomorrow that we'll play. We'll get a little bit into the Giants and the Phillies. Justin Verlander still not on point. Will he ever be? We'll get into that. We're another day closer to the NFL draft. So tomorrow's Wednesday. So we are officially 8 days away from the NFL draft. Anything that is going on there, we'll hit up as well. So we'll got a ton to talk about, as always, on a Wednesday edition of the program, 8 a.m. Pacific. Please make sure that you're subscribed to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Please, tonight, before you leave, please give us a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm for people to find us. That would be absolutely great. Thank you so much. By the way, if I get to tease one small thing, it's kind of a left turn, a little bit of a right turn, a little bit of a left turn. Great caboose pistol tomorrow. Incredible caboose pistol. I've never heard this name before, and I will unveil it tomorrow at the end of the show. Very good caboose pistol tomorrow, in addition to all the great stuff that we normally do. Everybody have a tremendous night. Thanks for tuning in. The Warriors win it 121-116. They are official in the playoffs, 7 seed against the Houston Rockets, and that starts on Sunday. Everybody have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!